This design is called Uchiwa because they remind me the shape of the Japanese fan. So we will need one pearl 12 mm pear earring, Miyuki quarter-tila beads, 39 pieces per earring. I'm using the palladium plated ones. Bicons 3 mm, 10 pieces. Seed beads size 15, seed beads 11 and delica size 11. I'm using nickel plated. The earring wire of your choice. I'm using the one where you glue in your chaton. Jump ring to connect the earring wire with the earring. Bead needles size 12. And the silk by your choice. Fireline or Nanofil 6LB is a perfect choice. So we will need to string 34 delica beads on the Fireline that is around 30 to 35 inch long. We will make a circle by entering all the strong beads. Make sure that the tail is comfortable to hold the thread. Once you're done with the circle, make sure that the circle is tight. So pull the beads tight. As you can see, this is how it looks. And we are going to use more delica beads to create one row of the payuri. I'm not making any knot because I don't want the circle to be too tight. One by one, I will be skipping each second delica and adding one extra one in each gap on the top of that bead that was skipped. I will repeat it around 17 times 17 delicas. Once the row is finished, you need to enter the starting delica and the next one to get to the top. So one more time. You need to add the last one by entering your starting delica, then you move one delica up. Now we will be adding quarter-tila beads in the next row. In between two delicas of the previous row, we will add 1/4 tila at a time. Pull tight. When you add the quarter tila, make sure that you place them with that bump towards the top. It's a very small bump, so even if you don't notice it, it's okay. So we are adding them one by one in each gap between two delicas. keep the beads tight. Once you're done with the row, you need to get back to your first row of delikas. You can see how tight this row looks because we will be placing our pearl inside. So let's step inside the circle, enter the pearl, you need to move your bezel a little bit so it fits your pearl. Then you will wave through the bead on the opposite side, that means next to the hole, and enter the hole of the pearl one more time. So you will have a double connection. Step out of any delika on the way back. Make sure that everything is tight. And now you will need to add one row of seed beads on the outer row of delikas. This is going to be our back side of the earring. Seed beads 15, one by one in between two neighboring delikas as a peyote. Keep pulling the thread tight so you can see it starts to form a very nice even circle. One last bead and the circle is completed. Pull the thread tight. Make sure you're satisfied with the result. And we are ready to move to the next step. As you can see on the opposite side, we have all those quarter tillas and we need to connect them on the top. So first of all, we need to get to the bottom hole of the quarter tilla, enter it, and then move to the upper empty hole. This is going to be our front side. We are adding one seed bead 15 in each gap between two quarter tillas. last seed bead 15, and the row is complete. Make sure you're satisfied with the result, and now we need to reinforce the circle one more time to make sure that all the beads stay tight on the position. Once done, we will need to get back to the bottom hole of the quarter tila. And now we are going to add a few more quarter tilas between two existing ones. So let's get some quarter tilas and seed beads 11 too, because we are also going to need them in this step. We are starting with quarter tilas, one at a time, in the gap below each seed bead 15. You can see the position. You need to pull the thread tight so no thread won't be visible in between. We will need to add 11 quarter tilas like this. They will form 10 gaps for bicons. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. 4, 5, 9. One more. And one more. So together 11. Make sure they're all placed properly. You can see they're forming this beautiful shape. So now we will need to finish the circle with seed beads 11, 6 times in between 6 quarter tilas. Actually 7 quarter tilas to get 6 gaps. We are placing them in the same gaps as we were placing quarter tilas, just changing the size of the bead and the shape, of course. And the last one. Pull the threads tight. So this is how it looks. 11 quarter tilas, 6 seed beads 11. Looks beautiful. Okay, we are ready for the next step. So now we will need to make some stitches in the ditch. As you can see here, I'm showing in between 2 delicas behind existing quarter tilas that we just added before. So let's wave 2 delicas down, 1 row below and then 1 more, moving diagonally down. So right now we will be starting behind the second quarter tila. The first one will be added as a last at the end of the row. So let's get some more quarter tilas that we will use in this step. Altogether again we will need 11 of them. Okay. Again, 1/4 tila at a time. In the ditch between two delicas, in the gap below the existing 1/4 tila, the one we were adding just before. You can see they are all going to meet in the next step. So try to twist them in the right position and pull the thread tight. Positioning of those 1/4 tilas will be a little crooked. It's okay. It's like they're slightly dancing. Keep going. It's all correct. I always say trust the process. You can't perform everything in one step. So let's compare it with the finished earring. So as you can see, we will make them work. So just keep going and don't be afraid. They are misbehaving sometimes, but it's okay. They will all work. So we have the last one, the last 1/4 tila. And now we will be, we have one more 1/4 tila here. Under the first one, we will add it, as I said earlier, as the last one. Now we have 6 gaps where we will be adding picots of seed beads 15. So we pick triple seed bead 15, and the same way in the ditch between two delicas, it's the same row, the same level. Just instead of the 1/4 tilas, we are adding triple seed bead 15. They're added behind each seed bead 11 from before. Make sure that picots form this nice shape of the triangle. One more, altogether 6. The tail can be sometimes slightly annoying, but it's okay. You have to hold it in your non-working hand. We will cut it at the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behind each seed bead 11. We have 1/4 tila left. So it's in our first gap behind the first 1/4 tila. For us, it's the last gap. Make sure it's not twisted in the wrong direction. And this step is finished before the second 1/4 tila. This is how they look. It looks like something is wrong, but it's not. You will see very soon everything is correct. So now we need to add bicons in those gaps on the top of the 1/4 tilas, on the front row of the 1/4 tilas. So we need to get there. So first of all, we need to step out of the lower hole of the quarter tiller, the first quarter tiller. Then we will add some seed beads to hide that thread path, and we will get to the top hole. So in order to get there, we need to weave in between the existing beads. The tail is bothering me all the time. So in order to get to that hole, I need to enter the top hole of the previous quarter tiller, and then I get through the hole of the first one that I'm going to use. So I'm just waving in between the tillers, changing the direction to get to my first one. So triple seed bead 15 is going to be added on the side to hide the thread. I'm entering top hole of my first quarter tiller on the front side. Here you can see this is the row that we were adding just now, that one with dancing quarter tillers. So you can see I'm on the front side, not on the back, so I'm not touching those yet. I'm on the beautiful quarter tiller row that we like, and here we are adding bicons 3mm, 1 per gap, connecting top holes of the front row of the quarter tillers. We will be adding 10 bicons all together, and as you can see, they are starting to form very nice even shape for our future earring. Two more to go, so the last one was missing. Last gap, last bicon. This is how it looks. As you can see, very beautiful. So what we need to do is to fix the back row of quarter tiller, sorry. So what we need to do, we will be entering our first back quarter tiller. You can see it's the same level. We are starting from the same level, just with the back quarter tiller. We connect both of them, and now out of the first quarter tiller I'm connecting through the bicon and the next back quarter tiller, again through the bicon and through the dancing quarter tiller, again entering the bicon and next quarter tiller from behind, and so on and so on. And this is going to fix the shape and the look of the back row with quarter tillers. We keep going, connecting them the same way, pulling the thread tight, and I noticed that my thread became a little bit fuzzy, and I thought to talk about the wax, but then I decided to make a separate video about all the materials that are helping me to work with beads, all my tools and other materials. So the last one is the same way. We enter last bicon and the top hole of the back quarter tiller. So now we need to connect them the same way as we connected them here, and then we need to get to the opposite side. to be able to add those 3 seed beads 15 the same as we have here on that side. So I enter top quarter-tila and the first bicon, and here you can see they're now connected. Both of them are connected on both sides. So what we need to do is just to get to the opposite side. First of all, make sure that all quarter-tilas are placed evenly. So now I'm going to add 1 delica bead in between 2 bicons all the way to the opposite side. So it's in the ditch between 2 quarter-tilas connecting 2 bicons. If it's hard for you to get in between those beads, you can just wave the existing pad in between the bicon and any quarter-tila front or back if you like. And also, instead of the delicas, you can add a triple seed bead 15. It will also look good, so it's totally up to you. I decided to do 1 delica. It's like a decorational element. Again, it's not necessary to make it, because you can see I need to shake my needle in order to get through. So if you don't want to risk your thread and to break it maybe, or to break the bead, you can just follow the existing path. So once we are done, first of all, I need to make sure that I'm finishing this row out of the top bead. 3 seed beads 15. Oops, but then I noticed that I'm on the wrong side. I'm on the back quarter-tila and I need to be on the front one in order to have it symmetrically. You can see here we have triple seed bead on the side of the front quarter-tila, so I will do the same. 3 15s entering the bottom hole of the last quarter-tila. I'm on the front side of the earring. As you can see now, it's all symmetrical, looking good. And last step, we need to finish here on the top of those picots. We need to add the connection for the earring wire. So we need to get to the middle of that part. I will be entering back quarter-tila lower hole first, then I will string seed bead 15 in order to get to my first picot of 15s. It's just because it's hard to get to the existing delica, the one that was used before, so it's just easy if you add 115. And again, we are not entering the delica between 2 picots, we go directly through the seed bead 15. So out of the third, we enter to the next first one until we get to the middle out of the third top seed bead 15, and there we will add 2 delica beads to connect our peak seed beads 15, middle seed beads 15, like this. You can see this connection here. Let me show you on the finished one. So I'm connecting it with the double delica twice. It's made as a herringbone here on the top. The same as we started this part, we need to finish it with 115 and connect with the quarter-tila. We are almost done. So now we need to get in between those 2 delicas to add 2 new ones. So we need to wave there through those beads, so we can get to the delica 15, delica 15, delica, delica 15, 15, delica, delica. So first we can do it through the side, and then once we get closer to that gap between two delicas, we need to wave to the center of the earring. So out of the 15, delica, again 15, and the delica. Then, because I get closer to the center, I'm entering more deep inside the delica from the center. Then 2 seed beads of the picot, of the third picot, and 1 existing delica, 1, 2 more, entering the second one. So it's like I would be doing the herringbone. Make sure it's placed nicely, because it will form kind of a loop like that we are going to use to add the earring wire. We will pierce it with the jump ring. So that's it. Our earring is almost complete. We need to finish our working thread and the tail to make knots and to cut or burn the thread. So I'm going to bead few seed beads forward, and then I will make a knot. One more. And now let's make the half hitch. So I'm getting in between 2 beads under the thread and then entering the loop, and I get this nice knot. So now I'm entering my next delica, because I want to pull my thread under the delica and hide this knot like this. So now it's under the delica, hidden behind. I will wave forward and burn the thread. You can make 2 knots if you want. Let it burn, let it burn. Make sure that the end of the thread is forming this small melted ball. And then we will need to do the same with the tail. I will use my needle, make a knot, and cut the tail away. This is how it looks, my completed earring, back and the front. Now I need to add the earring wire. As I said at the beginning, I'm using the one where I'm gluing the chaton, 6mm chaton. So first let's open the jump ring using 2 sets of pliers and in between the delicas. I think I was using first pair of delicas in my previous earring, so I will do the same here, making sure that it stays, placing the earring wire and closing down the jump ring. Okay, almost done. Looks perfect. This is the stone. I chose this Siam color because I think it makes a good contrast for the earring. So let's use this glue. I'm using epoxy ball. It's epoxy glue, has two components, A and B, that I need to mix using, let's say, this plastic tray. So I need to use even amount of A and B. And mix them evenly together. You need to be careful with this glue. It may become slightly yellow in time, so make sure that it's not visible when you're using it. So like use it in the spots where you know that it won't be visible. Otherwise, I think this is my favorite, far favorite glue that I ever used, and I like it a lot. So I apply just a small amount of this glue on the back side of my chaton. This side is a little bit crushed because it was in the setting, so I took it out of the setting, but I know that it's not visible on the front side of the chaton, it's just on the back. As you can see, front is perfect. So those are our earrings, and it was really fun. And you can play with the different colors of the pearls and look, do something in gold variation maybe. Thank you for watching.